All right, we are live. Where are we? Yeah, we are live. We are here on Google Hangouts. I'm so excited. Wow. Welcome to the now. Because that's really something that I find how important that is. Because in the now, in the present moment, that's where you can learn. That's where you can really experience. And that's something that is very rare in this world. And also I'm here at the same time on YouNow, which is another platform. And I'm starting to use different platforms to practice on developing that format of the Now show. We're also going to do that in German. Die Jetzt-Show, sprechen Sie Deutsch. It's also something that, well, can be learned as you practice that. And that's really what it's about, the practice, the regular practice in whatever it is you want to really work on, what you want to learn, how you learn. And there it really begins about to understand what you have learned. I don't want to talk too much right now because I have a tendency of sometimes getting ahead of myself and getting a little mixed up and too many thoughts and too many ideas and too much energy. But I'm also learning that how to direct that energy, because that's really where it starts. You know, that's really what is required, what is needed, you know, for us to learn to direct energy. Anyway, I'm really excited about that. The great thing about this is why I really love that, because it's live. I have a lot of videos on YouTube that I have recorded over the years. And I've taken the camera to walking down the streets. I mean, I'm in Germany now, I'm back in Germany, but I lived in America for a long time. In San Francisco, where I began using the camera. And there I just took the camera, walking down the streets, and I was talking about whatever it was on my mind at the time. Very much now, very much like a stream of consciousness, which is the kind of person I am. And I really enjoy that, sharing my thoughts. I also have done that on YouTube, on Pal Talk. It's also listed on my website, different outlets where I'm now presenting this kind of format of the Now show. Pal Talk, I used to do that. It's like online broadcast, which also I very much enjoy doing. I'm also doing a show now on Blog Talk Radio. And yeah, I have many videos on YouTube which I uploaded, but it's very different because it's not live. And then many times I think about how I can make this better, how I can, I spend a lot of time editing scenes together, taking out things that weren't so good. Even though in the beginning I didn't do that at all, I was just recording videos, and without editing anything, I uploaded them onto YouTube. And when I started in 2006 this channel on YouTube, I did that. And I did that for the first several hundreds or even 1,000 videos. Now I have about 2,000 videos, a little more than 2,000 videos on YouTube. Not counting the German YouTube site, which is Kein Ding, Kein Ding, because the Kein Ding wasn't available anymore for some reason. And so in the beginning I just shared my thoughts and I didn't think anything of it. But then later on, as I listened to those countless videos, I was thinking to myself, okay, what's really the point? What am I doing this here really for? And also, it is my desire to organize these ideas in a different format. Talking about a different format, this here definitely is a very different, very new format to me to do a live broadcast. Even though I'm still looking at, I haven't really invited a lot of my friends, which I could have done that to build some kind of an audience here. I'm looking at this point, there's still 0 viewers there, and I don't know, on YouNow, there's also no viewer, but it's all about practicing, and practice makes mastery. And it's not really so much about for others, about how others can hear my great thoughts, and I can just get attention from others and get exposure. First of all, it's really for myself. As I'm doing this, I'm getting better. And that's also the idea behind practice makes mastery. Practice does make mastery. You know? On that note, I'm going to practice changing locations here a little bit. Let me see. There you go. Taking a sit over here. And yeah, it is great. It is really great. It's an awesome experience to be now, to be present. And it's also very rare because the toilet paper. Because as we grow up in this world, we forget that. You know, our time is being controlled by forces outside of us, and so we lose our connection to being now, in the moment, to being in charge of our time, to be in charge of our lives. And so what I'm presenting here also has to do with the development of self, how we can become aware of the powers that lie within us. Because we have actually unlearned to listen to ourselves. We began to listen to teachers, to authority figures, to our government leaders, our parents, everybody else we listen to, but we stop listening to ourselves. And actually that's something, well, very important, because if we don't listen to ourselves and we just do what we've been told by others, we're completely confused and we're lost. We are controlled by forces outside of us. And I mean, if you look at this world, the realities of this world, what's really happening, there's a lot of chaos, a lot of war, a lot of injustice. And well, the theme of human history that actually repeats itself does repeat itself because we're not really learning the lessons. We're still fighting against the injustice. We're fighting against our oppressors, the enemy outside of us, which in reality does not really exist because we are the enemy. We have become our own worst enemy. Because everything is the way it is because that is how we've created it. We have co-created this world to be exactly the way it is. I mean, that's just the way it is. And to say that there is something outside of us that we're trying to fight, be it our government, be it something that we perceive to be the problem outside of us. A group of people, for example, that we think they are the enemy. Even the 1%, and not to be going to the conspiracy theory, but there's something very real we should really look at. And that is the fact that on top of the pyramid, and there always existed those who tried to control the masses. This kind of insanity always existed. And the masses were more or less, they were the victims of that, so to speak. Because the masses were being played against each other, the masses were being controlled by the market, by the system, by the machine we all are part of. But we are not a machine. We are human beings. We are spiritual beings, created in the image of God. And so we are like a tree. That is also that image is here to draw attention to. And I think it's something we never really looked at that, what that really means. How can we recognize those inner forces which make me a living thing? And how can I become aware of those forces and develop those forces, those inner forces, those powers? Because as soon as we came into this world, we are conditioned to serve, to obey, to do what we are told. And that totally kills our nature. That goes against our nature. And so there is no surprise that we are all divided, depending on what part of the world we live in and what part we play in society, from bank clerk to secretary, to cleaning personnel, to homeless person, to even terrorists in this world that play their part. Government leaders play their part, bankers, people who control the industry, those on top of the pyramid and those on the bottom, which make up the masses who all do what they're told, we all play our part. But who really benefits from that? Who controls everything? Or what controls us is really something important to look at. To understand actually then that, yeah, we have become unfree in this world, but we still are free. We just have given up our freedom. We've compromised ourselves as we were programmed to serve the system. And as we learned this, we never had the strength to fight that as children. And that's where it starts as children, as we come into this world, as we learn about that's the way it is. There's this institution you go to, it's a school, and there's a teacher, you need to listen to that teacher, and all the other kids do the same thing, so basically you just do like everyone else. That's what we learn, to become like everyone else, to be fit into the mold. And then we grow up under the illusion of freedom being a matter of, yeah, you do this, go to school, make good grades, listen to a teacher, do your homework, study for a test, then you go to the next grade, and then you can do, well, you can also develop some kind of an interest or whatever, be it sports or natural or history or even theater, which is wonderful, getting more into the creative side because we're really made to create. But since everything is so regulated, and then you get a job, and then you just support yourself with that to make money, and then freedom is a matter that you have money to spend this money, so you can go on vacation, you can buy yourself nice things, go to restaurants, which is all very nice, but it really robs us of our nature. It compromises our nature, because in this mindset we try to control nature, we try to control life, we try to regulate life, we try to we try to change things so we have what we want. Let me close the door here because it's a little loud. Now the neighbor is doing the lawn. It's Friday afternoon and it's lawn mowing time. We all are engaged in those countless activities, and we do, and we are busy, but nothing is really changing. We get set in the routine, and we all have this routine in our activities. And the way we are and the way we think is just the way it is, and nothing really changes. We all look for change. It's also part of that program that we look for change outside of us. If just this would be different, if I had a better job, and we always look to advance ourselves, and then we take courses in school to get more education so we can have a better job, and we look for happiness, and we all look for things to be fun, and we look for whatever it is we look for. And I think we all are this way. Look for something outside of us. And especially when it comes to change, we look for things outside of us to change. But changing ourselves, that is really the most difficult thing, but that's really where it's all at. That's really where it begins, when we create change. I'm always looking here on YouNow, which is this other platform, if anybody's there, but I don't think anybody is there. But it's okay, because again, it's new. It's also something very new for me to speak here, like in this format of this is live, and people can join in the conversation. At this point, nobody has done that, but eventually it will get to that point. The better I get at it, and the more I practice it. And that is also the idea behind Realize to Actualize, which is really learning by doing. Practice makes mastery, which is also Kein Ding. It's a German term for meaning also something like, hey, it's no problem, don't worry about it, Kein Ding. But Kein Ding also means, directly translated, nothing. No thing. Kein Ding. That's also the idea is that I am Kein Ding. I am not a thing. I am not a product. I am not just the things I do in order to get somewhere. the things I identify myself with and the things I hold on to, the things I am attached to. I'm much more than that. And actually, I'm learning now what that is. The power of the now, the real now, because now is an opportunity to learn this, to practice this, and to let go of some of the things which are difficult. I see that also, I see that in my own life. That's really why I'm doing this here, because actually these are things I want to learn. And I'm learning them as I'm doing them. And that's really the great thing. And that is why this is something very new, very exciting, and very, yeah, I feel more now. I feel more new. and yeah, this will be recorded, and it's available later on YouTube, and people can look at that. And when people look at that, I would love to hear what you're thinking about that. Maybe this guy is completely nuts, which is okay. That he thinks that. I probably would think the same way. But there is a method behind the madness. There is a point to that. And that is really something I would like to point you to in these videos, in the Now Show. That is taking place on a regular basis, not just here on Google Hangouts, but also on Blog Talk Radio and on Pal Talk, and also, believe it or not, if you are on Facebook, also on Facebook through text chat. It's a great tool to communicate, to share thoughts, share ideas, and to connect with others. And I mean to really connect with others, to have conversations that matter. And actually it begins when you start having these kind of conversations with yourself. Asking yourself things that matter. Starting to think about things you haven't thought of before. Because if you think about the same things you always thought about, and if you always do the same thing you always have done, you always get what you always have gotten. It's just like that. It's very, very simple. And it's very obvious that really change starts from within. But in what I'm also sharing here, which is something I myself am working on for myself, it does make sense. I guess you cannot really disagree with that. We all know that life is a school, and we get to learn things, and we only can change ourselves, and love is the way. But to live that, to put that into practice, is one of the most difficult things in life. Let me just say that here. To work on yourself, to work on myself is the most difficult thing. To discipline myself, to control myself, to not take things personal, to be more patient, to know that I cannot push myself in a way where I want all of this done now, but I need to realize that I need to follow my own pace. I need to develop my pace, where I do things step by step, gradually, naturally. And that's also coming back to the idea of that tree that looks like a dancer. It is about nature. It is about being natural. It's about being natural in how I think, how I develop those thoughts. It's very natural about that. Learning is a very natural thing. Understanding somebody when they share themselves is very natural. Listening is very natural. Love is a very natural thing. Happiness is very natural. I mean, just look at children. We just unlearn these things as we grow up, and then everything becomes so complicated and complex. And everybody is just trying to look for something, and everybody has a different idea of what they want, and that is what we all look for. We all look for what we want in this world. We all look for what we want from one another. And the reason for why that is because we grew up in this machine where we have become these products, where love is a product, even God is a product, all these different religions and belief systems, and we all look for whatever makes sense to me, whatever works for me. And that's really all this, what we lose sight of is what's beyond what I want. beyond the self, beyond my attachments, my yearnings, my desires, my philosophy, my way of thinking. There's a whole world beyond that. I mean, we all are, so to speak, our own world. We all live on the planet of our own creation. We all live in our own reality. And that is something also we all do know, but really what that means, that's a different story, is that we only see what we want to see. We all look at things in terms of we only look at things in terms of not what they are, but as we want them to be. That's how we look at other people. We all judge each other that way. Probably it's because we all grew up with judgment in this world. And so they don't only grow up also with the same kind of judgment. And when we see people, how we see them, how we look at them. And if we like them, it's very easy. It's really Kein Ding. Oh, I love you. And that's what we look for, somebody who makes us feel so wonderful and fulfills our expectations of what we need in a person, what we need in a friend, what we need in a partner. But if that's not the case, if somebody irks us, if somebody irritates us, somebody pisses us off, we turn our back, we leave that person alone. Actually, what I've come to find though, that this is exactly the opportunity for us to learn. Because the problem is not with the other person, that they piss us off, that they are so mean, or they are so arrogant, or they are so negative. It's really how I deal with that. Is then to develop the ability that, you are just another me. And if you say something or do something that I don't like, I do not need to react to it. And if I do react to it, then there's something in me. And then the reason for that is, why do I don't need to react to it, I'm free. Even if you put me down or say something negative to me, I don't need to respond to it. But in other words, don't wear the shoe if it doesn't fit, you know? And that's also the thing about real knowledge and real power comes only when you, not take things personal anymore. When you know your thing, dein Ding, however you are, is dein Ding. It's not my thing. It's your thing. And with this in mind, just imagine the powerful implications of it. Oh my God, I mean, I can talk about hours for that because this is really exciting to me. And soon I also will, as things develop and over time, start doing lectures and seminars and workshops and self-help group meetings online or in person, all kinds of different things. Because this is so exciting. If you think about that, with this in mind, oh my God, you can stop all arguments with people. You never, ever, 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 ever need to argue with a person in your life. Arguments take two. And arguments, if you really think about that, are really there to make the other person out to be wrong. Of course, we take it then personal, and if the other person says something we don't like, then we argue with them. I mean, what's the point, really? I mean, if you think about that, if all there is learning, and because when I argue with you, I cannot learn you, I cannot get to know you. Only through learning we can learn somebody. And that's really also what it means to be in love. Love is learning. When I love somebody, I really learn them. I get to know them. And that's not only, love is not only, let me also give you a quick reality check here. Love is not just a matter of, oh, I meet the right kind of person and then love is easy. I fall in love. It doesn't really, I don't need to make no effort. If I meet somebody and, oh, I love you. It's so easy. And we all want that. And it's no work there. But real love is not just a falling in love, which is passive, actually, if you think about that. But real love is an activity. It's a power. And that means that especially I love you and I stay in love. And that's real proof of my love. How deep is my love? When something happens that I don't like, I don't turn my back then. I don't criticize you. I don't attack you then because I feel you attack me, or I feel you rub me the wrong way, and then I rub you the wrong way, and then I get argumentative, and then we go back and forth, and arguments start. And before you know it, the end of a relationship That's the end of a relationship, of a beautiful relationship where two people first fell in love, which is very easy, but then also very quickly fell out of love because something rubbed the other person or one person the wrong way. What's missing here, and that's the real point, is learning. To learn each other. Especially when things are difficult, there you have an opportunity to learn. And even to take this point a little further, one thing I learned during my marriage is that those people who piss you off the most, those people who irritate you the most, are your greatest teacher. Because why do they irritate you? Why do they upset you? You cannot see that if you just blame the other person for that. I heard something when I began studying about personal development in the mid-90s, was saying that if you point fingers at somebody, you blame it's your fault, 3 fingers point back at you. I think it's kind of cute, but there's also a deeper meaning to that. Because, yeah, it's never about the other person. The problem is never outside of you. The problem is your attitude about the problem. And attitude, coming back to that, is also one of the things in life that really isn't a thing. Einstellung in Germany. You can find some of those terms on my website, keinding.com. But it's really true, that among those things which have become a thing, like, for example, freedom, we think it's a thing outside of us. We're trying to attain it. We're trying to defend it, and we fight for it. But it's not really a thing because we are free. It's just like with happiness, it has become this thing, or love has become this thing. We look outside of us, and then we're trying to hold on to it. But we can't do that because it's a quality. It's a human quality. It's an attitude. Happiness is an attitude. Love is an attitude. Absolutely. God, also, we look for God outside of us, and there are all these different religions which really have nothing to do with God, because God is in the experience, God is in us, God is an energy, and God is one. And also God is love. So it's something that is in all of us. And so to remind us of that, or to learn about that, what we really need is the practice. And that's what I really would like to invite you to begin on, that practice. And you can do that every moment of your life. Every moment of your life. Especially moments that are difficult, where you are in difficult situations. Let me actually change my seat here again. It's always good to change locations, change perspectives, to change in these regards, even though it's just a small thing, but it makes a little bit of a difference. Yeah, here we are again. Again, we're still live. We still got no viewers, but it's okay. Maybe you will use this then. Oh, we have somebody here from YouNow watching. Who's that? How do I pronounce it? Chistas Summer is watching. Damon, the man. Hi there. Hello. Welcome. This is really great. I love that idea of now. But there is something to be learned, something to be experienced. And it's really also the idea that through our experiences, we create our own reality. Something very important to look at that, how that works. What is actually reality, the nature of reality, how that is different from person to person, how we are all so very different and so unique. But at the same time, also, we all are one. And yeah, it's something that we all know, we have heard that. But what that really means in practical terms is something I like to draw attention to here in these videos, that actually what is really missing, that's the missing link, is to put this awareness into practice. Practice does make mastery, and so this is an idea that is about, it's learning to do, learning by doing. And I feel this as I'm practicing here, I'm getting better at it. I'm feeling more free. And I'm feeling also more positive about actually finally now doing something which I wanted to do for a long time, but I haven't done it. because I always had mixed feelings about it. I was a little bit lazy, I need to admit to that. And I'm a person, I think too much. And this thinking, the overthinking can also keep you from doing. And it is, again, really that doing, you know. So I'm learning that myself, and what I am learning, as I'm learning this, I'm sharing this with you, and hopefully I'm also able to inspire you to begin on that practice for yourself. And that is really Kein Ding. And that's the website, keinding.com. Take a look at that, please. Where you can get more information also about the Jetzt, where I start different platforms, like YouNow is a platform, and also Google Hangouts. I'm right now also here on Google Hangouts, which is really great, is a platform. I'm doing these things on a regular basis, on a weekly basis. I actually made a little bit of a list here earlier, where I have like listed here Pal Talk and Blog Talk, Radio and Google Hangout. Also Facebook. If you're on Facebook, I'm doing a text chat there 3 times a week. Information on that is on the website keinding.com. But beyond that, it's really, it starts now. It's all now. Everything is now. That's the real power of now. If you think about that, if you are more now, if you are now with people, if you are present with people, boredom has no space, has no place really. Anger has no place. Because now is where the magic happens. Now is where you create. Now is where you learn. And this is the kind of learning that I am very excited about. And it's really interesting that, because as a child, I actually hated learning. I really didn't like school. Because school was very, you know how it is. You went to school, I'm sure. Sit down, and there's a teacher, and you listen to a teacher, and it's kind of, when is it over? When can we go home? And then do I still have to do homework? And some subjects are more interesting than others. But it's really about that format, which I think is so unnatural. It's very, very unnatural. And actually, let me get this down here so you can also see this beautiful image. Because that's really what it's about, this image here of a tree. That's really about our nature. And learning is natural if we connect to that. And if we just open ourselves up to the lessons contained in every moment of our lives. Especially in difficult experiences, we can learn. With difficult people. They are our greatest teacher. But I think this is very difficult for people to see that and to begin on that practice, this kind of learning, because I think we got tired as we grew up in this world and going to school and just listening to teacher, and then we just grow up to be a certain way, and we just do our thing, we do our routine, and we all look for something better, we all hope for something better, but we're not really changing ourselves, we're not really improving ourselves. And we are looking for things to be better outside of us. We're looking for change outside of us. We don't change ourselves anymore. We don't even know how to change ourselves anymore, which is the most difficult thing in this world, to change ourselves, but also it's the most important, because as we change ourselves, we change this world. But if you just look outside of us for the problem, be it in other people, or be it in our government, be it with our parents, be it in the job we have, or the climate, or whatever it is outside of us, politics, and the problems with the refugees, and all the problems we can hear about in the news every day. If we just focus on these problems, we can never develop ourselves. We can never realize to actualize our real powers, our inner powers, and give expression to that. And that's really where it begins. The change of this world begins with us. And that's something really exciting. Sorry. I'm German, by the way. In case you don't know that, my name is Christoph. I'm here in Germany, in Mackenheim, a small town close to Mainz, close to Frankfurt. And I have a long history of doing videos. I have a lot of videos on YouTube, more than 2,000. In my English-speaking channel of Realize to Actualize, that's Realize with the number 2 and then Actualize. And then also I have many videos on my German-speaking channel, not as many. On the English-speaking channel I have more than 2,000, the German channel is now more than 100.
And that's Kein Ding, but K1 and then D-I-N-G. I just started this format recently. Actually, just last week, you know. And at one time I did a Google Hangout, but it was just like, you know, a little test, and then I didn't do anything for a long time. But now, just as of last week, I'm starting also to announce for these meetings on my website, specific times. For example, if I look here, Google Hangouts for the Now Show will be on Wednesday evening at 8:30 in Germany. Friday, oh no, that's right. What am I saying? It's at 3 o'clock on Wednesday, every Wednesday, 11 o'clock on Friday, like now, and 2 o'clock on Saturday. Also Google Hangouts here, so you can join that. And also I'm on Pal Talk. Blog Talk Radio is every Monday at 10 o'clock, then Tuesday at 6 o'clock. I don't need to read all of that now, but you can see the times on my website. Also, these times will eventually change a little bit as I do this more often. I'll become better at it, and I will see, okay, what times work, what times are better, and what times are not so good. So I hope you will be flexible with that. Will be flexible with me, and I hope you appreciate that. I know I do. It's something completely new. And again, that's what the power of now is really about. When you really now, everything is new. And now is also an opportunity to let go. Let go of the past. Let go of that which is difficult. Let go of what's difficult. Let go of what's not working. And now is an opportunity to be new, to be now, to be like a child. If you look at children, I mean, that's really where it starts as children. Children are completely new. Children don't know about boredom or anger really, or fear. These are all things that we learn, and then later on we become more or less repressed in this world as we just fulfill our function, follow the routine, and we get stuck the way we are because we have become programmed to serve the system, and we all look for something outside of us to be better. But we're not changing ourselves anymore. And that's the whole subject I began studying in America when I lived in America in the mid-90s. I began studying about personal development. And that, of course, is about the entire idea is of working on yourself, changing yourself. But there it is really the subject is more or less about developing tools and techniques so you can learn things in order to get what you want. To sell yourself better on the marketplace so you can be successful. What I've come to find is really missing, and actually that's the essence, is to really look at, okay, let me take a look at this here now. It's really to find what is this. Because I'm not just this machine who's trying to work harder, be more efficient, so I can get more what I want out of life. This year is really about connecting to that which is alive in you, connecting with your nature. And as you do this, you see the connection all around. You see how everything is connected. You see that there are no strangers, that there are no enemies, that there is no other really, because everyone you ever meet in your entire life is just another version of you. And that doesn't just go for people you like you like to hang out with, people you like to talk with, people are nice to you, yeah. But it's especially with people who are difficult for you. They are your greatest teacher. And I don't need to sound so lectury here about this. And also, I cannot teach this. Nobody can teach this. But what I can do and what I'm trying to do and what actually you can do yourself, what you can do yourself, you can learn this for yourself. As you begin to practice for yourself, you begin on that practice. And there, every moment is an opportunity to do that. So that's really exciting, I think. And also for this, there is no school. Even though I'm trying to start such a school, I already began something like this on Facebook, the School for Learning. But yeah, a school in terms of, you know, having a teacher who teaches you that, that's not really possible. But what is possible, and I know I'm repeating myself here because it's actually so important. What's possible is that you can learn this for yourself. But the learning here is more like a remembering, because you already knew this, or you already were this when you were a child. We all were completely free when we were children. But then as we grew up in this world, you know the story. You can also see this for yourself, and maybe see this in some of, if you have friends you grew up with, how they have developed, you can also see that for them. Anyway, I'm gonna warm up my coffee. We're still live here. I got somebody on YouNow. I just want to say hello real quick. I wonder what's going on to your mind. You also have chat here. You can chat with me. Also, maybe ask me a question or make a comment. It would be nice to hear from you. We have nobody here on Google. It's okay. But I got you here, which is really me. Looking at you, looking at me, looking at you, looking at eternity is now. Everything is now. So I'm very glad again to be sharing this wonderful space with you. And again, I'm going to give you a moment to think about that. We listen to some nice music here. Change this. Really actually play something really, really cool. I'm listening to a lot of music. I love music. And yeah, you know, there's music and then there's music. So let's hear Lorca. That's one of the great ones. So I bet you enjoy this. I can even take my time. You know, I like the saying, when the student is ready, the teacher will appear. Actually, just stop this real quick. And then you can hear this while I'm gone for a few moments. I'll let you think about that. The idea that when the student is ready, the teacher will appear. And that's a matter of, well, if you're ready, you begin on this process. When you're ready, you ask questions. When you're ready, you get involved. To not just be passively waiting to be educated, but it's really a matter of becoming active, of getting involved. In order to evolve, you got to get involved. And the idea of evolution is something very natural. Everything evolves in life. Time even evolves as it leads us from the past to the present into the future. But how we give that process direction is something that, well, requires some thinking about that for yourself. So I hope you can take some time to think about that. Take a few moments right now. I'm going to give you some time. I'm going to go to the kitchen. I'll be back. And think about that really, what that means for you. Think about some of the questions you have. Think about some of the things you learned. And also think about some of the things you might want to learn. Because whatever it is you want to learn, whatever it is you want to work on and improve upon, it's just a matter of being clear on that, of knowing this for yourself. And then when you have the goal in mind of whatever it is you want to work on, you can begin to work on that. As you make small steps in that direction, as you make effort in that direction, in order to learn this, to practice, to begin on this practice, to learn whatever it is you want to learn. So anyway, I said enough for right now. I'm going to play some music and I will be right back. I hope you can hear this okay. But I'll let you be the judge of that.
You must know that it was a noble sound. As we gather here, one passing of this noble sound, we should take the pains to remember something. There are some of us who don't accept the dreams of dragons as their own, no matter how grand those dragons might say they. Yes, there are some who refused to drop the candle even when pushed into a dark cave and locked there behind the stove. There is, you must recall, a kind of serious study that will give you the confidence to strike your match to the mighty wick that will illuminate yet another portion of the darkness.
All right. So I want this to be also not just get a feeling of lecture hall, of there, I'm trying to teach, you know, and it's I can sometimes be that way. And but I also want this to be a little entertaining, you know, a little fun. I think we all need that to lighten up a little bit. My favorite sayings about, you know, in regards to not taking ourselves so seriously is about angels. Do you know why angels can fly? I love that saying. I heard that in Kansas. Actually, my supervisor told me that, where I was working for Sally Mae over there. She said, angels can fly because they take themselves so lightly. Oh, I really want to do that. I want to practice that. And that's, again, coming back to that. You can, whatever it is you want to learn, you can practice it. So isn't that great? Wow. They don't teach you that in school. Of course they don't teach you that in school, because in school, yeah, you know, we learn do this, do that, be like everyone else, so the system can function, so the machine can function. But now we're learning that we are not that. We're learning that we are something much more magical, much more powerful. And we're actually beginning to learn what we need to learn. You know, you ask yourself that question sometimes, maybe? I think we all asked ourselves that question at one point in life. When we were younger, you turn up the music here. When we were younger, we all asked ourselves that question about the meaning of life. What is the meaning of life? Why am I here? What am I here to do? What's the point of all of this? But then as we, grew up in this world, we forgot. You know, we were told just, oh, shut up, go to school, do your homework. Yeah, you got some pocket money or whatever, go buy yourself something. And that's what most people do nowadays when they're bored. Oh, let's go for shopping. Let's go shopping. I mean, through this, we all support the consciousness, right? The market, where everything has become a product. We're all trying to sell ourselves. We're all trying to buy something. Everything has its price. And all of our actions are regulated by the market, by the economy, politics, religion, I mean, the industry, which is really like this machine. And it's been like this ever since the beginning of time. The machine just has become more complex, more subtle. We don't even notice it exists, the matrix. But yeah, it always existed. You know, those who control the machine, the super powerful, the power elite, they always existed, and they still exist. And they're trying to fight them, but we cannot win the war on that level because we have created them. They are not the enemy, just like the terrorists are not the enemy. The Muslims are not the enemy. Jewish people are not the enemy. The Palestinians are not the enemy. You know, gay people are not the enemy, whatever. You know, we perceive to be the enemy outside of us. It's not that, because there is really no enemy. Actually, the only enemy that really exists is the one that we have internalized. It's in us. And there are these two sides in all of us. The one side where we can be loving and wonderful and charming and we feel good and life is great. When there are certain conditions met, then that we feel good. When during other conditions, when something negative in us is stimulated, we all can get pissy, we all can get angry, we all can get unreasonable, you know, and yeah, you know, it's those two sides. It's the story that you might have heard, and I like to always tell that story because it really illustrates that point very well. The grandfather was telling his grandchildren about this war that is taking place.
And he said, this war is taking place in me and every human being in this world. And it's a war between two wolves. And the one wolf represents the light and the love and the kindness and the joy and the accepting others and appreciating people and all those good qualities. And the other wolf represents the darkness and the fear and the greed and the injustice and the intolerance and the hatred and the violence. And after he's done telling that story, the children look at him and ask, which wolf wins? And he just looks at them and smiles and says, the one you feed. Think about that. Every moment of your life is that question. Which side in you do you feed? Do you feed the love or do you feed the fear? It's like that every time when somebody comes to you and they stimulate something negative in you, you usually blame the other person. You think it's the other person who is in this moment your enemy. They are at fault. They are so bad. They just made me upset. But it's not really them, because they just push the button in you, and that's what it's about. That's really where you can learn to learn something about yourself. But you cannot do that if you continuously blame the other person, if you keep on blaming things outside of you. The problem is not outside of you. The problem is only how you deal with the problem outside of you. Problems are also opportunities, and great opportunities for us to learn. And I just want to welcome here real quick. I see a couple of folks here on YouNow. Hello. Nice to meet you. My name is Christoph. I'm here in Germany, and I'm also broadcasting live here at the same time on Google Hangouts. Really exciting. I just started to do this, what I call the Now Show. You can find more information on my website, keinding.com, under the tab Jetzt, which is a German word for now. I also do the Jetzt Show, which is in German, of course, because I am German. But I've lived in America for a very, very long time. I learned a lot there as I was confronted with some very difficult things, I have to say. Things that actually triggered the worst in me. But there was a time then when I began studying about personal development in the mid-90s. I then also began using a voice recorder to record my own thoughts. And because I wanted to train myself as a public speaker. Back then, that was my idea that this is what I wanted to do. And so I trained myself to do that. But then after many years, I heard my own anger. I really began hearing my own patterns. Because there was a time I was married. I was in a very difficult marriage. I was arguing with the person I was married to the entire time. But what I didn't realize, and it took me many, many years to listen to these recordings, to realize that I cannot change her, that I only can change myself. But to know this, I mean, that's really where it starts. And that's also the relevance behind this concept of realize to actualize. To know this is the first step. But then to put this awareness into practice, that is the missing link, really, the practice. And that's also something that I myself have realized now how important that is for me. I want to begin on that practice. And I also want to present this idea to others who also want to learn how to improve themselves, how to make things better for themselves, how to change. I mean, I don't know about you, but I think there are a lot of people out there in this world who want to change. We just don't know how to go about that. And so we are really stuck in the mindset of, well, we remain the way we are. We're not really changing, but we only look for change outside of us. And we then, we want things to be different. We want the people in our life to be different. And if they're not the way we want them to, then we argue with them. And if just my job would be different, or today the weather sucks, if just the weather would be nicer, or if I would just have more money, or if just my partner would be nicer to me, or my job, or if things would be better in the government, and then we watch the news and we just see about all the bad news in the world, the things that are happening in this world, but we're watching this while we stay the way we are. And if we stay the way we are, I said that earlier, if we continue to think the way we do, and we do the same things we always have done before, then we always will get what we always have gotten. Nothing will ever change. But if you think about that, change is really the essence of life. Everything changes all the time. But with us human beings, it's different because we grew up, quote unquote, and then we became a certain way, and then we developed certain habits, a certain way of thinking, a certain routine, certain preferences. We developed our personality. We evolved to be the way we are, and that already, during our teenage years, or even when we were 7 or 8 or 9, we already got stuck into that mode, into that way of being, way of thinking. We developed our personality, and we don't change anymore. And so we then grow up and we grow older without really changing, but we only look for change. We look for going to events, meeting nice people. We want to have fun, and we have exactly our definitions, our requirements, our standards of what we need in order to have fun, to have friends, to be loved, and we go to activities, and we do what we think, what is important to us. And so we have become very separate from each other there, because we all are going through this world looking for something better outside of us, while basically remaining the way we are and thinking the same way, reacting to things the same way. But if you really think about that, how you can create change is only as you change your thoughts. With your thoughts, you create your world. That's also something they never taught us in school, of course, because thinking there was just a matter of memorizing what the teacher is telling us. And we think like everyone else. And so we stop thinking. We stop following our inner bliss. We're not, as children, we are endowed with a great sense of imagination. Even Einstein said imagination is more important than knowledge. But we are so focused on this book learning, on academic achievement, on controlling our environment, on learning what we need to do in order to control our environment. For us, to control things so they can fit into our own mode of being or what we want. But if we're all going through this world looking for change, and everybody's trying to change things for their own sake, and also we see that in this world with nations, where the nations are divided, even though we have the United Nations, but it's all like a big joke if you think about that, because there is no unity. There's Africa for Africa's sake. There's Germany for Germany. Yeah, even though we got the European Union, but it's still like even France and Italy and all the different countries are for themselves. And then we have the United States of America, and then we have Australia, and then South America. What did I forget? But yeah, that's how it is. We're all separate there. And I think really it's time for us to come together. To realize that we're one. We're one people. We are all family. We're all one. And this world, and that's why I also like the idea of now, of home. Home is where the heart is. You are always home, because this world is your home. It doesn't mean you can just spread yourself out, and act however you want to, and be rude and be like, I can get away with things because this is my place. Sometimes it is like that, where people are disrespectful because they think they have the right. With this right comes also a great sense of responsibility, because we're all responsible for each other. We all are responsible to make things better in this world. And the only way we can do this is we begin to learn to really respond to each other. And so I hope that over time, as I'm making these recordings, I will start some kind of a dialogue with people instead of just, at this point, there is some kind of a monologue. But it's all a matter of practice, and it starts with one step. It really is like that. Every journey of 1,000 miles, whatever you want to achieve in life, whatever change you want to create, for yourself, if you really have that in your heart, it will come to pass, however far away it is. If you want to run your own company, if you want to be a recording star, if you want to, you know, develop on your ability to paint and then also sell your paintings, or if you have an idea for, I don't know, anything, to make that happen, it starts with one step. The journey to get there starts with one single step. Then, of course, the point is to continue stepping, to continue on this journey. Every day, every moment of your life, you have an opportunity for that. And so I hope we all can, use that opportunity. Because many times, most of the times, we don't use that opportunity. Because we always complain about something, we bitch about something, we get involved in arguments with people, we get then eventually feelings of depression and anxiety, and when we get stressed out, which is all our environment acting on us, and we reacting to it in a way where, in a way it hurts us. We don't realize that, and we think we have no power over it. We think, okay, the weather is bad today, or my job, I didn't get paid today, or somebody is giving me a hard time, and so I need to react to it automatically without thinking. This is not true, because there's something that Stephen Covey said many, many years ago that really inspired me greatly. And I'm going to just say this now, and I'm going to end this broadcast here in a minute. I still see there are some people here on YouNow. Again, hello, welcome. I don't know if you also can send me a message here in the chat. Would be nice. Let me just see. Hello, Rick. And hold on, I'm going to finish my thought in just a minute. There. I just want to say hello there real quick from Kein Ding on YouNow. But anyway, the real story I wanted to tell from Stephen Covey, what he said. He wrote a book, The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. And something he shared in that book that really got him started on his journey. Something really powerful. And it said that between what happens to you and your response to what happens to you lies your ultimate freedom to choose your response. That means you don't need to react to the same things in the same way. You have the freedom to, hey, even if somebody is attacking you verbally, of course, if they're attacking you physically, I would hope you would defend yourself. But if somebody's attacking you verbally, putting you down, criticizing you, whatever they do that would usually get you to react in a negative way, you don't have to do that because you have the freedom to choose your response. I mean, isn't that amazing? You have real power. You know, that's the power we never learned because we have become disempowered to serve the system. And it's time to change the system. And we can change the system not by having a revolution, not by fighting against the system, not by trying to control things outside of us, because we cannot do that. But the way we can change things in this world, the way we can create a new world, so to speak, is by renewing ourselves, is by changing ourselves, is by working on ourselves. And that's what, well, this is about, this program is about, that's what the Now Show is about, that's what Kein Ding is about. Welcome again here, Kein Ding from Germany, right here, right now. I have a couple of viewers on YouNow. For the first time here on YouNow, very, very great. I'm very glad to be here. And again, my name is Christoph. For those of you who don't know, I have a website, two main websites. Actually, one main website, and that's, well, it's in German, but it's also in English, because I also teach languages. But more than teaching, you also see that on the website, there's a link there about the practice. Because what I basically do is help people to begin on their practice to improve their English, their German, learning to be more patient, wanting to become more confident, wanting to become more passionate, finding your own purpose, and then learning to do what you need to do in order to also live your purpose. That all requires a practice. And that's also, you can see that on the Kein Ding website, keinding.com, but it really begins with the learning. And this kind of learning involves the learning about myself, the learning about, I show that you cannot see that on YouNow, but you see that here on Google Hangouts, this tree, learn about this within me, my own nature, really getting to know myself. The way to go about that is to make the effort to get to know other people. To really open yourself up to them and to not take things personal anymore. Which is, I know, one of the most difficult things in life to do. But it's also one of the most important things. Because as you do this, as you change your reaction to what you ultimately cannot change, everything else will change. Dr. Wayne Dyer made also that comment that if you change the way you look at things, the things you look at change. Also this you can practice next time when somebody comes on to you and usually you look at them as, okay, they're attacking me, and they're putting me down, and I feel already like I want to argue with them, and I want to give them a piece of my mind, and I want to fight with them. Instead of looking at this way, look at it, you are in that mindset now where you have to be critical, or you have to attack me, or you have to be mean towards me. But I realize this is not my thing. This is nicht mein Ding. This is your thing. This is dein Ding. That's also the point of Kein Ding, to see the difference. That however people are, that's their thing. That is their nature. That is their karma. If somebody wants to hurt you emotionally, that's also going out, to many of these kids in school who are dealing with mobbing, made fun of others, and some of these kids really, I can't believe how difficult that must be, but at the same time also you can learn to deal with that better as you don't give that any power. You don't need to react to it, because the reality is also, however, if you react to a criticism, if you react to somebody saying something negative to you, you give it power. And so it's really up to you to not give it power anymore. As you begin to realize, hey, it's okay, I don't need to take it personal, that's your thing. Because in this moment, as soon as you do it, I guarantee you that it will go away. That negative person, if you continue to do that, you are steadfast. That's really the thing, to not react to it. It's difficult, but it's possible. And that's also the idea of where you can create change. Instead of focusing on the problem outside and trying to fight the problem outside, which is also the idea behind a revolution. And we have had countless revolutions for human beings throughout human history, and they never really resolved anything. Because a revolution is going against the injustice and going against the system and trying to have a revolution. But when we do this, we give this, what we don't want, more power. That's what we do. That's what's happening. We give it more power. And we also, at the same time, are being distracted from realizing our own powers and developing our own powers, because we're too busy looking at the problem outside of us. And as we react to it, as we try to fight it, we give it more power. So we can take the power away, we can take the energy away from whatever we perceive to be the problem outside of us by letting it be, by knowing we cannot change that. This is just a mirror for us to see something about ourselves that we should really look at, should really work on. And that's also the truth here, that the only person we can change, the only person we can work on is ourselves. That's just the way it is. I know it's much easier and it's much more tempting to argue with people and to focus on, okay, what do I need to do in order to change this? And I just want to change this outside of me. I mean, that's also part of our program, always this looking at what we need to change outside of us. Much easier than changing ourselves. It's much easier to, hey, I don't like you, what are you looking at? Punch you in the nose, or argue with somebody. If you tell me something I don't agree with, then I also argue with you because I want to convince you of my point. It's so much easier then just learn, just be present in that moment and just be open to what it is you are sharing with me, so I can learn about you, so I can really get to know you. It's not about that I agree with you or yeah, any of that. It's just like that I become aware of your nature, of the person you are. And as I open myself up to that, as I really get to know you, I can get to know myself better. And that's also part of the practice here of Kein Ding. I really appreciate your time with it. I'm going to say right now here on Google Hangouts, oh, I have one viewer now. Oh my God, now I have a viewer on Google Hangouts. I wonder who that is. Let's see if I can see that. I don't know. Hi, viewer. Hi. This is really amazing. I mean, technology, that's really the positive aspect of technology. How it makes it possible for people to connect from all around the world. I have not too many. I have, how many do I know? 1, 2, 3, 4, 7, I guess, people on YouNow. That's pretty cool. You know, don't know who they are, but I think it's still amazing. You know, this outlet to share yourself with the world. And I also have to say that I'm the kind of person, after what I went through, this is easier for me. I mean, I'm working myself up to a point where also in real life I'm meeting with people, which actually also is really Kein Ding for me. I'm actually a very open person. I love talking to people. I love meeting people. But okay, this person is gone now. So I'm going to say right now here goodbye to Google Hangouts. Bye, Google Hangout. It was nice to hang out with you. I'm still going to stay here with you now, so I can just focus on that. It's always a little bit when you do this, that, you know, when you get a little distracted. But that's also something that I want to learn for myself, and I'm learning this as I'm practicing it. What I'm doing now is to be more focused on one thing at a time. And sometimes it's difficult when there are 2 things go on. So I'm going to say right now, goodbye to Google Hangouts, and we'll be back, and I'm going to say a few words to the folks here on YouNow in just a moment.